In this video, I will teach you 10 words that you may be pronouncing incorrectly even if you're an advanced speaker of English. These words are commonly mispronounced by some native speakers. That's why I always tell you, be careful who you imitate. If you want to sound educated and professional when you speak English, I will teach you how to correctly pronounce these 10 words. When I was planning this lesson, the next day I was scheduled to teach a student, and she's an actress. Her name is Keturah Hamilton, and I decided to give this lesson to Keturah. I wanted to see how she pronounced some of these words. She's an actress originally from Jamaica. Keturah has lived a big part of her life in the United States, so she already speaks with a very good American accent. Actors need to be experts in different kinds of speech. They need to know how different people pronounce different words. For example, if an actor has 3 auditions in 1 week, maybe the first audition, they need to play a character who is maybe a car mechanic. And then for the second audition, they need to play a sophisticated businessman or businesswoman. And then for the third audition, maybe they need to play a criminal. These 3 characters are completely different types of people, and therefore they speak completely differently. And the actor must know which version of pronunciation they're going to use for that specific character. And that's why I say, if you're watching a lot of American TV shows and films, what kind of character is speaking? If it's an action film, for example, you may not want to speak that way in a professional environment. If you want to speak English like a professional, you need to study how those people speak. And by the way, watch this video until the end. You will see another lesson that I was teaching Keturah where we were practicing word stress and melody. She was having a really difficult time with a sentence that she needed to say in a performance. We were practicing that sentence many times to make sure that the rhythm and the melody were correct. If you watch this video until the end, you will see the kinds of exercises I was giving her to make sure that she could master this difficult expression. And now, let's learn the correct pronunciation of 10 different words. Look at these 2 words. How do you pronounce them? A lot of Americans confuse the pronunciation of these 2 words. Let's see how Keturah says these words. Let's look at the next 2 words and tell me how they are pronounced differently. There are different meanings, but people often confuse the pronunciation.
Okay. So, silicone.
Yes. And the next one?
Silicon.
Yes, very good.
Yeah.
But we stress the first is silicon.
Silicon.
The first word is silicone, and the second word is silicon. Listen to the difference. Silicone, silicon. Silicone is a material. It's a substance, and it's like rubber, but it's liquid. It's like liquid rubber. I used silicone to seal the area around the sink. I used silicone to seal the area around the sink. And the next word is silicon. You've probably heard of Silicon Valley. Remember, it's not Silicon Valley, it's Silicon Valley. And silicon is a chemical substance, and it's used in making computer chips. And because Silicon Valley has so many technology companies that make computer chips or work in areas related to computer and technology, this is why this area is called the Silicon Valley. It's in Northern California near San Francisco. He got a job with a tech company in Silicon Valley. He got a job with a tech company in Silicon Valley. So be careful, don't confuse silicone with silicon. One has an O sound and one has an A sound. Silicone, silicon. How do you pronounce the next word? Do you know what it means? Let's see how Keturah pronounced it. Okay, how do we say the next word?
Mischievous.
Common mistake.
Really?
Yes, common mistake. We're going to say mischievous.
Mischievous.
That's mischievous.
Mischievous.
That's right. Do it again.
Mischievous.
Perfect.
The mischievous. This is fun.
Okay. Mischievous.
Mischievous.
The way she pronounced it is a common mistake made by native speakers also. The correct pronunciation is mischievous. Mischievous. Don't say mischievous. You will hear some Americans say that, but you shouldn't pronounce it that way. It's mischievous. Mischievous is an adjective. It means to behave badly, to be making trouble, but usually in an innocent way, usually when children misbehave. The mischievous boys were disciplined by their parents. The mischievous boys were disciplined by their parents. Don't say mischievous. And the noun of mischievous is mischief. Mischief. Don't cause any more mischief. And how do we pronounce the next word? Usually we see this word in writing as an abbreviation, ETC. But we also use it in speech. How do we say it? Let's see how Keturah says it. How would you say that?
Etc., etc.
Okay, common mistake. You're saying etc. And that's a very common mistake. It's etc. Etc.
Etc.
Not X. X, like ETS.
Oh, ets.
Yes.
Oh, ets, like you say ETA, so it's S.
Don't say etc. It's etc. 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 When you give additional information, you want to say something more, you say etc. I need to buy paper, a pen, a pencil, etc. I need to buy paper, a pen, a pencil, etc. And sometimes people say, etc., etc. And that means, and so on. How do we say the next word? Do you know how to say it? Even some native speakers struggle with this word because the pronunciation is so different from the spelling. We say nuptial, nuptial. And nuptial is an adjective meaning related to a marriage or related to a wedding. The noun form of this word is nuptials. Nuptials. Many people watched the royal nuptials on television. Many people watched the royal nuptials on television. Very often this word is used in this expression, prenuptial agreement. Prenuptial agreement. Pre means before. Before the wedding, before the marriage. Some people sign a document before they get married. It's a legal document that discusses things about finances, things about money. That's called a prenuptial agreement. Did they sign their prenuptial agreement?
Did they sign their prenuptial agreement?
Good job. The next 5 words are not advanced English words. They're easy words, but people still mispronounce them. How do we say the next word? Some people incorrectly say pronunciation. It's not pronunciation, it's pronunciation. The verb is to pronounce. The vowel sound is ow, to pronounce. But in the noun form, the vowel sound changes and it's just none, none, pronunciation. I would like to improve my English pronunciation. I would like to improve my English pronunciation. Don't feel bad if you didn't know this one. I have heard people tell me, oh, so you teach American pronunciation? Look at the following 2 words. A lot of people confuse the meaning and the pronunciation of these words. The first one has an IS ending, and the second one has an ES ending. Listen to the pronunciation first. We say parenthesis, and for the second one, we say parentheses. Parentheses. And the second one is the most common usage of this word. Parentheses are the 2 symbols. They are curved lines that you put around a word or an expression or a sentence. You can say, I put the sentence in parentheses. Make sure you pronounce the E's. Parentheses. And a lot of people don't know this, but that extra information is called parenthesis. Parenthesis. A parenthesis is a message that departs from the main subject. That's called parenthesis. And now let's make a sentence. I put the sentence in parentheses. I put the sentence in parentheses. How do we pronounce the next word? This one is difficult because there are 3 consonant sounds next to each other, and if your language doesn't have these consonant groups, these consonant clusters, then this will be a hard word for you to say. Let's see how Keturah says it. How would you say the next word?
Strength. Strength. Strength.
Okay. What happened to the G, Keturah?
Strength.
There's a G in there.
Strength.
String.
Strength.
That's right. When some Americans don't pronounce the G sound, it will be incorrect. It'll sound like this, strengths. But it should be strengths. You have to create the G back here, strengths. And then there's a TH and then an S. That's not easy, but you need to practice until you can say it naturally. Strengths, strengths, strengths. When you go for a job interview, a very common question is, what are your 3 greatest strengths? So don't say, one of my strengths is. Say, one of my strengths is. Tell me about your strengths. Tell me about your strengths. Don't skip that G sound. How do we say the next word? Some Americans incorrectly say jewelry. Jewelry. Don't say jewelry. It's jewelry. 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 I love your jewelry. I love your jewelry.
She's wearing beautiful jewelry.
Yes. She's wearing beautiful jewelry. She's wearing beautiful jewelry. And let's look at the next 2 words. Only one of them is correct. The first one is correct. Never add an S to the word anyway. Don't say anyways. I hear a lot of young people speaking this way, and they say, and anyways. It should be, and anyway. I didn't want to go, but I went anyway. And now I will show you another lesson that I had with Keturah on a different day. She was struggling with saying this following sentence. Picasso is interested in museums. She was stressing the wrong syllables of the words interested and museums. She was saying interested and museums, and she didn't know how to fix it. Let's watch how she practiced and how she mastered this sentence that was so difficult for her. We will do it 7 times. Interested in museums. Interested in museums. Interested in museums.
Interested in museums.
Now, no more hands. Just say it.
Interested in museums. Interested in museums. Interested in museums. Picasso is interested in museums. Picasso is interested in museums.
Keturah, what's Picasso interested in?
Picasso is interested in museums. It's effective because it's fun, it's fresh, and I feel like my brain needed that, not like intellectual of, just talking book.
Knowing the rules only.
Knowing the rules only, but so it becomes playful. It's almost like a kid. You get a child and you say, okay, let's play this game. While teaching the child something, that's how basically I felt like I was a kid for a moment and I was learning something new without being like, okay, this is how we're going to do it by the rules, but more like, okay, let's play a game.
We have a lot of fun in these lessons. If this video was helpful to you, please subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell so that you can find out when I post my next videos. Also, to learn to speak with a standard American accent and learn all the rules that you need to know, you can get my online course by visiting AccurateEnglish.com. Thanks for watching and keep practicing your English. To learn all of the rules for a good American accent, you can buy my online video courses at AccurateEnglish.com.